For those like me who didn't know about BuzzFeed, how would you describe what is BuzzFeed?
So BuzzFeed, in a nutshell, is a media organization designed for the social age. So the idea is that we're creating content that should be discovered and shared much the way you would get a book recommendation or a movie recommendation or find a new song, through friends tweeting it or sharing it on social media sites like Facebook or Pinterest or Twitter, primarily, because that's where news breaks nowadays, as you know.
Well, I was going to say, I confess that the first time I really substantively heard of BuzzFeed was following the Boston Marathon bombing. What happened?
So that was an actually interesting thing for us, because what we used to see at BuzzFeed is people would come for the funny list and sort of the less than hard news content that we produce. But over the last 2 years, after Ben Smith has come in, who's our editor-in-chief, and built up the politics vertical, people now come there and come to the site looking for news and real hard news. Hence, we've launched politics, we've launched entertainment, and now we've got a business vertical as well that I head up.
I have to ask you, from my standpoint, combining some analytics with some trend watching is fascinating. So from the standpoint of deploying your work on behalf of the capital markets, looking at the trends that investors care about, that the markets care about, that the Fed cares about, that politicians care about, how do you see the application developing going forward? Because your growth has already been exponential.
Right, exactly. So on the analytical side of things, there's a whole data team that looks and mines that. As an editor, I try not to get too involved with that. I kind of try and see what's working, what's not, and try and develop a rhythm and a pace. I mean, look, we're journalists. We want to break news. If you break news, readers will come and people will share that, and then all that other stuff will come as part of it, as be part of the secret sauce, as you say. Sure, there's a benefit to knowing, you know, what's working and what's not, but news is what's going to drive the business vertical, just like it does the politics vertical for BuzzFeed.
How do you make the decision about what stories to write, what stories to reference from, let's say, other outlets like Bloomberg or CNN or things like that?
So, you know, our audience is 60 million unique visitors a month.
60 million unique visitors a month.
50% of that is on mobile, and 60% of those visitors are 18 to 34. So the millennials is a huge target audience for us. But what I'm trying to do with the business side of things is appeal to the millennials who maybe have never looked at business content before, been served it, and also the Wall Street reader that's looking at the Journal and the Financial Times, and kind of have those two Venn diagrams overlap to a certain extent.
Snuggies.
Snuggies.
What's
you have
with,
one.
Well, I know about them. What is up with Snuggies?
So that's just a fantastic success story. You know, my retail reporter, Sapna Maheshwari, she's fantastic, and she decided to go and sit down with the CEO and tour the company. So, I mean, 5 years, 35 million Snuggies sold, $500 million in sales for a blanket with sleeves. I mean, who's not going to read that story? That's incredible.
And how many readers? Can you track how many readers and where they're from?
Yeah, we have all that. You can see who's sharing on what particular site and where the links are coming from. But from my perspective, you know, we want things to be shared, but we also want to have impact. And for me, a citation in the FT or the New York Times or the Journal, which we've had, is just as important as a page view.
Or Bloomberg.
Or Bloomberg, that's right.
Even better.